Hello, so continuing today on Leetcode Daily Challenge. Today's problem is sign of the product of an array. So here what we have is basically we have this sign function, and we want to return 1 if we get x as a parameter. We want to return 1 if x is positive, -1 if it's negative, and 0 if it's equal to 0, okay? And what's this x? Well, that's just the product of the array. And so pretty much we want to return the sign of the product. So pretty straightforward. This one, if you do it, you get 2 here, -6. You get since -6 multiplied by this, it would be a positive number. We don't need to care about the product itself. And from there on, it would be positive, right? And so it's positive, so we return 1. So that's sort of the idea here. Now, how do we solve it? Well, pretty straightforward. You could just do a for loop literally and just calculate the product, right? And so the simplest solution is just to have p equal to 1, which is the product initially, and just go through the array. And so we will just multiply by the number. And now here we'll just check the sign. So if it's positive, we want to return 1. If it's negative, we want to return -1. Otherwise, it's equal to 0, we want to return 0. Okay, so very simple. Let's run it and let's submit, and that passes. Okay, now one thing you notice here is actually we don't need the product. When I was doing the calculation here, I just figured out the sign and didn't need to calculate the product itself. So let's actually do that same thing here. So let's call this the sign, right? Now, we know that if the number is equal to 0, no matter what happens next, any 0 multiplied by anything, it would be 0. So we can just return 0 immediately here, right? And then if the number is negative, then we have to change the sign by multiplying it by -1. Because if the sign was 1, it will become -1, because then the product is now negative. If the sign was -1, which means the product was negative, then multiplying it by a negative number will make it positive. And so if we multiply by -1, the sign will become 1, right? But if the number is positive, then the sign doesn't change, because if the product was positive, it will stay positive. If it was negative, it will stay negative, right? And so here at the end, we can just return the sign. Okay, this should pass as well, and it does. Now, in terms of time complexity, this is O of n time, right? We are just doing one loop, so O of n time. And then O of 1 space. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for this problem. Please like and subscribe, and see you on the next one. Bye.